In 2026, I'm going to be fiber arts maxing. I want to be acquiring new fiber arts skills to add to my repertoire. I already have quite a few. I'd say crochet is definitely my strongest. I feel like people might agree with that. Back when I was in art school majoring in fiber arts, I had access to a lot of studio spaces and equipment and materials that I wouldn't have had access to otherwise as an entry-level artist. One of the things I kind of regret about art school is I focused so much on my crochet practice. I did a lot of new techniques and I'd try stuff out, but I usually would turn around and go, all right, how can I apply this to crochet? How can I push the boundaries of crochet? And obviously, crochet is my love language. It is something I adore and I will keep doing it. I'm by no means replacing crochet. So I took a lot of entry-level classes and I got to try out some new things, but I probably could have done more. There were more opportunities to try different tools that I didn't take because I was focused on crochet. And at the time, I thought using that single medium and getting really good at it was going to be my only goal. But since getting into the world of competitive cosplay, there's definitely an encouragement to use and master new skills in your costumes. It's great to be really good at one skill, but as you advance more in the competition scene, you're not going to get very far if you can only show off mastery of one skill. Feedback I was getting from judges was that I nailed the crochet. It's time to pick up some other skills. And that really resonated with me, and I've been looking at different ways to expand the skills I incorporate in cosplay. And while there's a whole wide world of cosplay making techniques, the fiber arts has a special place in my heart, and I love incorporating unique or unusual, maybe underutilized skills into my cosplays. So when Clawlab reached out and asked if I'd like to test their rug tufting kit, I was very excited. In their pitch, they even encouraged me to think about ways I could utilize this for cosplay. This is my first video learning the skill, and I anticipate this becoming at least a 2-part series, if not more, as I develop my rug tufting skills and create cosplay pieces with it, because now that I've started this skill, of course I want to push myself and develop it more. I was introduced to the world of rug tufting by a classmate who used that to make their art back when I was in art school. They made some really cool pieces. It was a really interesting way to paint with yarn. I love when people paint with thread or yarn and they describe their art practice as that. While rug tufting intrigued me, I didn't jump into it. At the time, looking at what was available and the traditional rug tufting setup and skill set, it did seem pretty intimidating. And like I said, in art school, I tended to focus a lot on crochet. So huge thank you to Clawlab for sending me their rug tufting kit and opening my mind to the world of rug tufting as an accessible thing for my studio space. I truly don't know if I would have picked up rug tufting on my own. I went very easy on myself and I started with a super simple project. I made this rug for my yarn bowl and it looks so cute. Can you tell I like red and black? I'm so happy with it. I also made this sample, which I plan on adding to a wearable piece to test durability. But I'm still deciding if I want to put it on a jacket or if I want to put it on a purse. Because I haven't decided, I'm not going to delay the video anymore and I'll share with you and I will update you in part 2. So let's jump into it. If you want to see the journey of me learning how to rug tuft for the first time. I'm very excited because Clawlab sent me their rug tufting kit. I have never done anything with rug tufting before. Let's open this up and see what is included with the kit. Starting out, we have some yarn in a nice variety of colors. Always love to get some yarn. Now we have the tufting gun. I will open this up in a second and show you what's inside. And then it looks like we've got some backing and it's got the little anti-slip material. And this is what I can only assume is the frame. I'm really excited about the fact that this comes in separate pieces that you assemble but can break down in a way that's easy to store. We also got fabric to tuft into. Another thing I'm already noticing as I'm taking these pieces out is it's very lightweight. I was able to hold the entire box with everything in it, so I already kind of knew that it was lightweight, but I really appreciate that. When watching other people unbox this and show off their Clawlab, I did see that it has this really cool case. I was very excited about it. It just looks very nice, and I like that you can store stuff in a designated spot. Here we have the cords. It's going to take a USB-C. And then there's this nice adapter, which I don't need, but hey, I could travel with this. It is very portable when you look at all the pieces taken apart. Another thing I've seen people note about their Clawlab guns compared to regular tufting guns is that it's a lot more lightweight. And then when storing it, you have this cover to keep everything secure and covered up. If we flip this up, ooh, I really like that there are separate compartments up here in addition to a big pocket. It's just small things like that that I do really enjoy. So we have these little pieces here. So tiny. Of course, it comes with instructions. This whole frame comes together pretty easily. There are a few screws that you'll need to assemble it with, but other than that, it's very simple. Things slide into place very easily, and it does not take a lot of time. I will admit, I switched around where the different rods are supposed to go. I flip-flopped them, and then I realized pretty soon after, because things didn't fit as they needed to. And then I re-evaluated, checked the instructions, realized my mistake, and it fit perfectly. Go ahead and award this kit even more accessibility points because I like that the screwdriver is not super tiny. Winding up the mesh material was maybe the most difficult part, and even then it wasn't that difficult. It was just a little bit pesky making sure everything lined up straight and it wasn't being wound up askew. Traditional rug tufting frames that I have seen involve stretching canvas and getting it to stay with nails pointing out from the wooden frames. And it was nice to adjust tension with the knobs and the pieces on the side to hold the fabric backing. Because in most of the videos I watched where people were setting up their traditional rug tufting wooden frames with the nails, at least half of them were saying, yeah, I will poke myself doing it, be careful, but you're probably gonna poke yourself. I don't want to do that. Setting up the tufting gun is super easy. It comes with a needle threader, which works really well, and then you just have to plug it into the cord, making sure that the lightning cable is facing the right way. If you have it backwards, it won't turn on, and that's what happened to me at first. I'll let you hear how not loud this gun is. I was expecting it to be a lot louder than it actually was. As you may have noticed, it took me a lot of tries to get a groove with this. I was adjusting both the speed on the gun and how hard I was pushing the gun into the fabric. From my research, I was told to, push pretty hard in it. That's one of the more common mistakes, to not be pushing the needle through the fabric enough so that things stick. And then starting on a slower speed was recommended. Eventually I got there and I was able to make some pretty consistent lines. I tried a couple curves. And you'll see on the canvas I was a little bit more ambitious than what turned out to be the skills that I did have. I drew my logo, I drew this little heart, and then when it came time to working on the heart, I created such a big hole in it because I had switched the yarn. I got my tension wrong when I went back to it, so I moved on from that and went back to just doing some straight stitches, experimenting with different colors at the same time, getting like a stripe effect. I did try to do the crochet hook, but that was also another thing where it just ended up being too complex for me. So I decided to take a step back and focus on making something very simple, getting some swatches so I could get a feel for the material and also use them as samples for a durability test. When I try out new hobbies, I usually end up doing a first project of swatches and samples so I can get a feel for things, and that's what this first session ended up being, and now I feel like I have the stepping stones towards working on a bigger project. I love that it's so easy to take apart and it is very easy to store. The rug tufting frames that I was used to before this were big wooden setups that people built and usually just left already assembled so they can work on their next project. And I am working out of my bedroom and my closet, so I don't have space for a giant rug tufting frame. And the only reason I didn't make a bigger rug with more of a design like my logo, which is still a goal of mine to make with this tufting kit, is because I ran out of the canvas material to tuft into, and I need to get some more of that, and I have not been able to. So when I can pick that up, I will get to try some more advanced stuff now that I feel a little bit more comfortable working with the gun. When I was done tufting onto the mesh, I cut everything out and I got ready to glue things down. Now I have seen that using carpet glue is recommended. However, I'm on a very limited budget, and as you'll see in a second, I did get a carpet shaver so I could trim this down and get it even. So that's where that budget went to, because this kit includes the frame and it includes the tufting gun and the fabric and the backing and yarn, which is great. But if you want to do any sort of carving, which is what they call it when you're trimming the carpet or rug that you make, you'll have to get that separately, as well as picking up some rug glue if you want everything to be extra sturdy. I just use this tacky glue because it is what I had, and then I also hot glued the edges of everything together. It seems to work out pretty well. The mini rug for my yarn bowl isn't going to be seeing a lot of action. I'm interested to see how the smaller blue and orange swatch holds up in its durability test. The next steps in testing durability will be to make more swatches and try out different glues as well. This is such a beginner-friendly product, and I highly encourage it to those who want to get into it. It's also a pretty affordable way to start and get into rug tufting. Rug tufting was very intimidating for me before. I don't think I would have been able to try it out myself before I learned about Clawlab being a very cool at-home option to get started. Before learning about this kit, the only options that I saw to get into rug tufting were to build my own setup and acquire all of the pieces individually, acquire the rug tufting gun, build a frame, which involves woodworking. Not my strongest skill, but another skill I'd like to develop. Not going to be part of the fiber maxing series, but I don't want to have to build my own frame. I'm not into the idea of having to build a whole setup just to try a new skill and build a setup that involves poking myself. So basically, it just seemed like too much work to get into. So when Clawlab reached out to me about testing out their rug tufting kit, they had mentioned that I could apply this to my cosplays and incorporate it somehow. And I don't think it would have crossed my mind to use rug tufting for cosplays or wearable pieces. So I've already been playing around with some designs on ways that I want to try incorporating rug tufting into cosplay pieces. First thing is I am going to test the durability with the little patch I made on my wearable piece once I decide. Actually, why don't you let me know? Should I add that as a patch to a jacket? Or should I add it to a purse? I think jacket and purse are good durability tests because they're things that I wear often. These tufted rug pieces don't have a ton of drape or movement, so I think they could be really good for structured pieces that I want to look more stiff, like an armor pauldron situation, or even for prop making. I'm thinking about designing sort of an armored character that has a shield, because I think that could be really cool, and something with pauldrons or like a cloak where the top of it is very stiff and structured. So I have some sketches, but they're not finalized, and I will share them when they are finalized. And we will work on that later in this rug tufting series. If you're new here, accessibility in art practices, especially fiber art practices, is something I take very seriously. I have had tendonitis since high school because I didn't know better, so I am here to teach you better so you don't have to destroy your hands. There is no reason that all fiber artists have to have wrist pain or hand pain. If you take proper precautions, you can enjoy your crafts long into life without damaging your hands. And this makes it very easy to get into rug tufting without hurting your hands. I didn't feel any strain while using this. I was able to do some sustained rug tufting, and it wasn't super heavy, weighing me down. There was no need for breaks while using this because it was so comfortable and lightweight. You can open it up to make adjustments and maintenance pieces, but it stays enclosed, which is pretty beginner friendly to me because the rug tufting guns I was used to seeing seemed a little bit scary and intimidating because everything was just open. I also really appreciate how easy it is to switch speeds and adjust things with this simple dial. We love simplicity. Not everything has to be super complex, especially if it does not need to be. As you heard earlier in the video, this is also pretty quiet, which is very nice. I don't have a dedicated studio space. I am working out of a house where I share it with other people. Sometimes I work a little bit later into the night, so if my craft is loud, I have to wait until it's reasonable hours to be working, but this is quiet. So if I want to do evening or late night crafting, I'm not annoying people. I didn't get a noise complaint from my family, so that's cool too. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun trying out this tool, and I definitely think this end product is cool. I know it's not as detailed as some other people have worked on. Let me know if you have any questions because I will be coming back to this as I work on a costume piece for this. I also want to teach my sister how to use this because I think a really good way to know that you know something is to be able to explain it to someone else. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna say what everybody says when they are trying to get serious into YouTube and say, I have to say like and subscribe, but I think I have to say that. Those things are pretty important, at least the subscribe part, if you'd like to watch the rest of the videos on this journey. You can also follow me on my social media if you want to check out some of my other projects. I do a lot of work with fiber art, especially crochet and cosplay. And if you want to get started on your own rug tufting journey and practice and join me in fiber arts maxing this year, then go to my affiliate link down below and use my coupon code to save some money and get yourself a Clawlab rug tufting kit.